In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 4 greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
We're back!
Okay, welcome everybody once again to Spinner Rack. And here we have our normal discussion with Cal, Petey,
D-Boz,
and Mario.
D-Man.
So today the topic of discussion is women superheroes, and particularly
Wonder Woman.
Whether or not, you know, we even should be discussing this topic, whether it's worth the ink or the talk or the video. I kind of disagree, so I just want to just jump in and basically give my opinion. There should be no movies about Wonder Woman. All I can say is Elektra failed, Catwoman failed, and I throw it to Cal.
Oh yeah, and what you call it failed too. What's the name? Tomb Raider. That failed too. The first one was mediocre at best, and they wanted to see if the second one could make a bigger splash, and the second one failed big time. It was rubbish.
And I must concur with that. I gotta say, look, the
But
reality is...
you're not saying women superhero movies are garbage, right? You're not agreeing with that part.
I'm agreeing.
Very good. Very good.
Very good distinction. I pass it back on to you.
I don't think I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna just say that I think Wonder Woman is a very historical character. She's been with DC. She's lasted longer than most of the other DC heroes. A lot of other heroes were canceled, like the Flash, Green Lantern, definitely Green Arrow. So she has two characters. There's a character that's in the comics that the comic creators don't always care about, but there's also the icon, the one that's shown all around the world, that's been selling since her creation. They sold her all around the world, her memorabilia. She's a very long-standing character.
So what areas of what aspects of Wonder Woman that you said the creators don't like?
They haven't had respect for it. Every aspect that you see, they've tried to change it. Like even back in, I guess it was the late 60s, Wonder Woman was still going, and she still survived the Revenant part. Like they tried to make her into karate, but she still survived after.
Well, the reason why she's still going, I don't think it's because of sales. It's because they have a contract with the family, with the what you call it? I forgot the guy's name. The Houston Estate. That if this goes out of print at any time, the rights come back to us, and they don't want to lose that character at all. Yes. Okay.
Well, they found that out after Crisis because they got the okay to get rid of her at the end of Crisis, where they turned her back to clay, and there was no plans for her. They were just like, "Hey, she's on the list of who we can kill. We wanted to kill Superman, but they won't let us, so we'll kill Supergirl and we'll get rid of Wonder Woman." And it's like, "Oh, she turned back to clay." And they're like, "Oh, we got to put her back in the books."
Mm-hmm.
And they were struggling with it before Perez came along.
I think those two.
And Perez was good.
Perez run was great. John Burns' one was great as well. No. John Byrne's run wasn't as seminal as Perez, but John Byrne brought in some aspects that they use now in the Wonder Woman icon on her motif. The longer bracelets, her relationship to Darkseid, with the whole idea with the gods. Mm-hmm. Great run. I liked it. It was a great run. It was a good run. He threw in a lot of different things.
Perez touched on the aspects of the gods too, so let's not forget that.
Yeah, because he was right.
And I think, exactly.
But we're talking about Greek. But we talking about Greek gods. The gods I'm talking about is Darkseid. The new gods. That's the gods I'm referring to. But anyway, getting back to women in film, there have been some excellent women in film superhero type elements. I would give you the Long Kiss Goodnight.
Fantastic.
It was a great movie, although it did well. Yes, it didn't do well in the theaters, but the script for that, Shane Black, went for like what? It was $1 million. That script was trying to be sold for. Yeah. Long Kiss Goodnight showed me that a great character written with a great story can sell. It was sellable. I don't know how they sold it.
I don't know.
I think at the time, times are relevant. I think times are.
Because look, the reality is most movies, superhero movies, are seen by men. You know what I'm trying to say? Don't get me wrong. There's a huge female population that goes out to see superhero movies. I said my wife, my daughter, other women. I mean, they say more than half of the movie audience is actually women. But I'm saying those movies, you still see a large group of them going out to see the movies. But the fact of the matter is, what drives it? Young men and young boys and men drive it. Okay? And they don't feel that connection with a Wonder Woman or a She-Ra or a Catwoman. And those movies didn't do well, and hers isn't going to do well.
Catwoman is really the worst example because it's.
That's a perfect example.
No, because it's like the bad costume.
The concept was terrible. The concept was terrible.
Everything is
they went away from what Catwoman was, and if they would have kept to a Catwoman-like character that they had in the comic books, as they used similarly for Batman. What was it? Batman Returns. Batman Returns, which I didn't like. I didn't like the movie. I didn't like the 9 Lives Catwoman. But she was a thief. You know, she what you call it? You could have played with it. I didn't like Tim Burton's really take on the second movie, but Catwoman could have worked because people were lining up for it because Halle Berry was playing Catwoman number one.
They saw the movie and said,
exactly. So you had the audience ready for a Catwoman movie, men and women. Men wanted to go see this thing. Like, okay, we're ready.
I'm okay.
And then they dropped the ball.
It didn't have legs, and I don't think it had anything.
It had legs.
I think even if the story would have been better,
it just didn't have a head.
For a cat burglar, that should have, especially a girl running around. It's
well, the whole idea, if you're talking about relevancy and people relating to it, you're talking about Catwoman, who is a woman who romances her way into getting jewels and everything else. So she's using her feminine wiles. Very relatable.
So we could just take out. What if we just took out the whole Catwoman aspect and just said she's a burglar and she's going around?
But that's the whole idea.
But I'm saying, has there been any movie of a successful woman doing that? And there hasn't been.
Yeah, there has. The movie with Sean Connery and I forgot the actress name.
But it had Sean Connery in it. The problem with that movie was that Sean Connery, you had a strong male character who was dominating. And in most of these movies, that's what you're going to find. A strong male character. And now in other Marvel and DC movies, they're developing female characters. In Thor, we have Natalie Portman. We have Gwyneth Paltrow in Iron Man. Now we have Scarlett Johansson playing a Black Widow-esque.
But that's not the reason Catwoman failed, because it didn't have a male lead. You didn't need one. You had 2 strong female characters, Sharon Stone and you had Halle Berry.
No, you think you misunderstand. I'm saying, you're looking at it saying, whoa, a female character going out for a movie. Yes, it's not going to work. Yeah, if it was the book on the traveling pants or something, yes, it would have been.
You're selling that short. I can't even believe you just said that. Go ahead, hold on. Cal wants to say something. Go ahead.
I need to hear what he said. What did you say again?
He said it was a movie like the traveling pants of what you call that? You saw the movie with the 4 girls, the traveling pants?
Yeah.
When America is in it, so go ahead.
Or Monte Carlo.
Oh, I can't believe you said that. Let Hack out. Let's go. Go ahead.
But he's not wrong. Those are. No. By the way, I've never seen the movie, so I have no idea what's.
But that's not what he's saying. He's not saying that the movie wasn't geared towards women. He's saying Catwoman needs to be a movie geared towards female, like that movie. And I'm saying no,
because the character was developed. Let's
but like Wonder Woman,
developed for men.
Hold on.
You don't have to have. It doesn't have to be traveling. It doesn't have to be like that movie. But I do think they should gear it a little bit more towards women. I do think the point is, look, most of these movies, superhero movies, 18 to 35-year-old male demographic. There's nothing wrong with that point about making it something that is geared more towards women. Because a lot of these films, those are dude films. The fact that a girl comes along, or a woman comes along, and she likes it too, it's fine. But they're specifically looking for one audience.
Exactly. But that's
no. He just made the point. This is a woman's film, but it's not geared towards women. It has an open. There has some elements in there. Yes, the character. Yes, women should relate to. But the story itself, you could have put a boy in that role, and the story works. Okay? Yes.
No, I disagree.
Are you kidding me? What about the Hunger Games, besides the character being a female, makes that a woman movie? Makes that a female movie?
The relationship with her sister?
Yeah. You could have made that a relationship with his brother. Come on now. You can say, my little brother. How's that different?
It's a romance.
No, how's that a romance between her sister?
Did you see the movie?
Yeah. Yes, I saw the movie.
It's very
so that's what I said. What the guy can't? What male movie, action movie, doesn't have a romance in there?
No. That's a sidebar.
They have a romance because they have to get the chicks.
That's what I think.
This is the same thing. You can do that.
This is central to the book, and it's central to the whole story of the.
It's not central. It's a part of it, a reason why they survive at the end. But you can do the same thing with the dude. Reverse it. The guy is a girl, and it's the same movie. What is the difference?
Is that how they?
He knows this. No. Look at this mind. He knows this.
Is that how they market movies to 18 to 35-year-old males?
I'm just
romance.
I'm just saying. Well, they do
That's
that.
how
They
market the movies to us.
Yes, they do. They throw romance in movies
No.
with men.
I'm not talking
Iron
about.
Man.
I'm not
to
talking.
Pepper Pot.
That's not romance. Okay. I'm talking
That's not
about
romance.
No, it's not romance. There's a very clear delineation between the two. Now, what was going on in the Hunger Games? That whole thing with the sister. Okay, her sacrificing herself with the sister, her developing the relationship with the guy she has to fight against, and so on and so forth. Those are very romantic elements, and they are in those type of books for young girls and for women. That is a staple of that type of literature.
Iron Man 3. There's no element of romance in there where Iron Man is sacrificing himself for Pepper Potts so she can survive. He's doing all this dangerous stuff for Pepper Potts, and that's not romance?
No, it's action.
Wow. And the action in Hunger Games related to the romance. That's romance?
Yes.
I don't see what's my point? What's the difference between these two?
All right, let's say P. He disagrees.
I'm not sure.
You disagree too.
I guess that point I would say I think it's interchangeable. I don't think the romance was that heavy in that movie. They had some elements with the guy from her town.
Yeah.
They did that, but everything's so propped up. You could have switched the roles. It's
interchangeable in my eyes. The only movie that I think that you would have a point in would have been the vampire movie, Twilight. Now that's a female movie. That's a female movie.
No.
Straight female.
No, let's not even bring
The
that
dude is not having the baby. The dude is not having the baby.
The reason I kind of agree with Cal is because there were many elements in that movie that women grabbed onto. You have the whole issue with the sister, the whole issue with the mother, with her having to be the surrogate mother to her own sister. You have that whole issue. I mean, when she comes to the new world, to the new city, basically, they have her basically being in the forefront. Everybody's talking about her abilities, what she can do, and when she exceeds it, basically. But also, what guy is going to go on stage with a flaming dress and everybody's going to say, yeah, what's up?
The dude has in the book, the dude has a flaming suit as well. It's not just her. No, but his suit is on fire too.
Even her major choice of weapon is something that's
exactly.
That's synonymous with it's a chosen weapon of females in these type of stories.
What? The archer? No. Most of the movies that you see when you have archery is except for the Brave movies, are men. Okay, Lord of the Rings, perfect example. The Hunted, perfect example.
Because there are no women, having women in the role, the chief elf, the lady, she shoots a bow and arrow. What are you talking about? That's the best thing for them. They don't have to go in and dig the knife in. They don't have to cut you with the eye.
Are you kidding me? Did you see the movie Ultraviolet? Ultraviolet or Ultraviolet?
Another good example why you shouldn't have another female superhero.
I'm saying, no. The weapon of choice these days for women are guns. That's it.
Because
you see Black Widow,
far away.
But it's not same thing with dudes. What I'm saying is it's hand in hand. He's saying that Wonder Woman had to make it work has to be a movie like The Hunger Games to have the aspect of the female.
He didn't say that.
Yes, he did. That's why yes, he did. See? Yes. Okay. Yes, correct. I know. All right. I'm listening. My point about that is that when you use The Hunger Games and you use the relevancy of the bow and arrow to say this is a more female weapon to make a relevancy of
keep me out.
It's historically correct.
Okay, I didn't disagree with it. All I was talking about when I was shaking my head is that the relevancy to a Wonder Woman movie doesn't necessarily have to have female weapons because Wonder Woman is super powered. She can deal with the swords. She can do a bow and arrow. She can do spears. Shields. All the time because she's an Amazon. That destroys all of that.
I don't think he disagrees with any of that point. You know what I'm trying to say? We all understand basically Wonder Woman is Superman with tits and.
Exactly. That's why I believe.
We understand that.
That's why I was saying.
He was talking about another aspect of why the whole ball now, why women have not been able to do that in that.
Exactly. For those movies. But that's why I was saying that Wonder Woman movie wouldn't have to have that element of the female weapon or the female this because she transcends that because she's an Amazon.
We understand that, but you know what it is? Most men, do you really feel comfortable seeing females fighting boxing?
Yes.
No.
I feel very comfortable.
Do you feel comfortable watching UFC? I'm not that 100% comfortable, and most men.
Why aren't you? Are you threatened? You threatened, sir?
But I'm just saying, and I think it's not. The acceptance is changing, and I understand that. But at the time, right now, I don't think it's going to work. And her being a close hand-to-hand combat dude
Yes.
holding on and throwing guys through. You know,
Alright,
I don't see that happening.
Did you see the movie that they had with the MMA girl?
Haywire.
Haywire.
Actress Gina Carano.
Ooh, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Cal.
Did you-
Whoa. Did you like the whoa? You
That's
was talking
what
about
happened.
being
What's
comfortable. Whoa. My point is that you said you wouldn't feel comfortable with
Sexy.
seeing
I was
her.
a bit uncomfortable.
You was a bit uncomfortable?
I was a bit uncomfortable.
How you been uncomfortable?
I'm like, yo, she's getting punched. Oh my god.
And did you believe it was real?
I was like, well,
Yeah, it was real, right?
but I was
Okay.
like, yo, I don't know if I like this.
I saw
It
that.
was hot, son.
They sexed that film. Her fight scenes were sexed up.
Right, but I'm saying,
What?
I
When he threw the coffee in her face and then hit it over there, I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Okay.
shucks.
So wait a second. Hold on a second. There's that scene where she takes the dude down on the bed.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that
she
one,
got
that
over
one.
here. She wraps his
Exactly.
around.
That
She
one.
pushes her pelvis up and then brings him up. Now, when's the last time you seen two dudes fight like that?
Thank you.
All the time in wrestling. Wrestling, they do that all the time.
You know what?
All the time in
I like the
wrestling.
movie, but I was like, he's hitting a girl. I kept on saying, he's hitting a girl. I can't.
That's what made
That's
the
what made-
fighting much more
But
powerful.
that's why I'm like, But even then, if you notice, she couldn't continue fighting like that with the guys. You know, she had to use some more skill and
Correct,
because
but if-
she can't go hand in hand. Wonder Woman's different. Wonder Woman can go pound for pound, baby. She's a 200-pound heavyweight. You know what I'm trying to say? She's a Superman. She can go. You can. And still keep on going with this chick.
Correct.
No, it's
She's
not
a brief.
rocket.
Correct.
It's not rocket.
No. It would be rocket. That's
Not
rocket.
rocket. One thing you gotta understand, you're picking all these movies that didn't do well, and the one thing we're saying about Wonder Woman, and you're making actually the best argument for it, is that yeah, they can possibly do many of those things, but will it translate enough for an audience to support it, to continue? And that's the problem that you have with Catgirl, Elektra, and your favorite Ultra
You know, it's a
Ultra
bad
Sound
movie.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna make my point. Here's
Electro.
Wait.
Catwoman.
Yes, the stories are terrible. But I'm gonna make my point to dismiss that.
The
Go
point
ahead.
that he has to get to is like, what's the good movie?
Exactly.
I'm
That's
saying-
We were saying, Haywire. Yeah, Haywire was a good movie. What did
What
it
I'm
work?
saying is
Did he liked it?
I'm
Did you not like Haywire? Okay.
But
yes.
overall,
Long
audience
Kiss
didn't
Goodnight.
like it.
Long Kiss Goodnight. We're not talking about the overall
But again,
audience
the
at this
overall audience
point
didn't like it.
because it's a
Because-
build-up. But do you know
But I'm saying that's
the
the
same
point.
argument that you're making is the same argument they
There's a
made.
reason why the Hunger Games is gonna
Here's my point is going to supersede everything.
and Salt, which was a good movie.
Oh, Salt. Oh, this here another one. See that?
Dude.
Which was written for a man.
Dude.
Which was written for a man.
Dude, you gotta take it down 1,000, man.
No. Go ahead, man.
Salt, okay, which was a good movie. But I mean, I had some issues with that too, because she was going toe to toe with Liev Schreiber, who's like 6'2",
Thank you.
at least 100 pounds heavier than her. And I was just like, look, after a while, it's not believable for me
Exactly.
anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Can I
way.
make my point?
Go ahead. I'm not. I can't react. Go ahead.
No, you can't react.
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
You signed up there now.
Go ahead.
But again, Salt, which I thought that was a good movie. Okay, it's the same action trophies and everything like that. It's got Angelina Jolie, who's already been able to do the action stuff.
We know that.
But again, that movie was good. It was financially successful, and it's one film.
Pete, what do you think?
I'm not sure why it was an enjoyable movie. I'm not sure why they didn't continue. I think I'm thinking on the line that the superhero, the female superhero, the solo as a lead, just hasn't been done right. We don't have like the Superman the movie or even the Batman Begins of the female action hero.
Do you think Salt was done right?
I'm saying that his argument for why they didn't want to do female movies or what he was bringing up was the same argument for why comic book movies were initially didn't make. But somebody did it, it was successful, and the same reason why a woman female superhero could do the same thing. All you need is the same kind of director, actor, good story, and it will work. That's what I'm saying, that it's timing.
Joss Whedon basically has a Wonder Woman script in it that he gave in, right?
Yeah, I read it.
You read it?
Yeah, it was online a while ago.
How was it?
It was excellent.
So the question is, why would DC say, wait a second, this isn't this movie isn't something that we can support at the moment, and yet they can go on with another, a new Superman, a new Batman. You know, why? Why do you think that?
Whedon's script was expensive. To do Wonder Woman right is expensive. And then it goes back to what you said, and we talked about it before. You've got to have people who are willing to invest in this without this character having any previous history, anything on record that shows, look, I'm going to get the return back for this.
Exactly.
And then if you're saying, well, look, let's look at some other female movies that were done. If you look at the more successful female movies that have action in them, okay, they're not going to be like this particular movie. So it is a heavier lift and it is a harder sell. Yeah, no, what Dennis is saying is correct. You know, anytime they say, well, look, we can't do this, relevant, no. You can pretty much make a film just about just about anything. Okay, it has to be done correctly. But I do understand why they may be hesitant to bite at it, because you've got to show these people something where, look, we can do it in this particular vein or in this particular vein. And then the last thing, it always comes down to the sexuality of Wonder Woman. Okay, it comes down to that. Her sexuality, for a lot of the people involved in it, okay, is a problem. All right, it's one of two things with her. It's either she's with one dude or she's with some type of Madonna figure. Okay, where they don't want to embrace that when it comes to a lot of the female characters. Okay, and that's something that's inhibited as well. Whedon got over that in his script because he gave her a boyfriend. Okay, and they like each other. They have sex. Okay, it's no big, and the sex actually is a stabilizing force. You know, with her in the actual film. So you know what he did was pretty good, but they didn't want to bite at it.
So you're basically saying they have to hold on a second. Basically, have to make put Superman money and Batman money behind them.
Yeah.
So it's not. You know what? It's not going to be made.
Hold on. And I think, I can't believe that I'm agreeing with this guy. But there's one aspect that I will agree with. You made several good points, but the one aspect that I will say I agree with is that the investment. To make a movie like this don't cost money, but not any more money than it would be Green Lantern, which is a much more expensive shoot because majority of it is CGI. CGI is much more expensive than doing a location shoot. So I would say for your point to making this movie, money is an issue, but the investment part I would say is the most important part. If you get somebody who's willing to invest, the movie can be made.
Of course.
I think those other areas that he's talking about a trite that can be fixed with scripts with the whole idea with the Madonna or is she a slut can be fixed. Okay.
Let's go, Petey. Look, we look at in the New 52. We look at the New 52 and we see that Wonder Woman is not the top 10 character being bought. Basically, she's probably under the top in the top 20 possibly.
Lower.
Probably even lower than that. And yet you want to say, hey, do we really want to make a series or something like this? You know, when you have other characters.
You're exactly right. It doesn't seem like there's any money. There's no proof that you can make it work. There's no examples besides saying Superman the movie or Batman Begins, where these other movies. But you have to say it should be done. You shouldn't have to follow all of the past things and make it success. The character is going to be here forever. She's an icon. She's known around the world. It needs to be done, you might have to forget it, and if it fails, that's what it is, but they should try to do it well.
Especially since they're trying to push and go into the shared universe with DC. And if you want to do a Justice League movie, there's no way you're going to not talk about the elephant in the room, which is Wonder Woman. You cannot bring her on screen and go, well, what about Wonder Woman? Yeah. She is, although these guys are trying to say on the totem pole of characters in the DC universe, she's like below 10, which is incorrect.
You could bring her in the Justice League movie without giving her own.
But see, it's not going. That's talking about the elephant that's not in the room.
Same like the Hulk, where the Hulk wasn't successful, and he's the most popular character in the Avengers.
Yeah, you just give him some really bang up scenes in the movie. No character.
But he had a great movie.
I agree with him that you need to have a stronger push for her to have her own movie. If not, in Justice League, she gets marginalized because she'll just be one of the people in there.
Correct.
And she doesn't get it. But this is something that I wanted to ask everybody from the other point. Let's say that they gave you the money, okay? They gave you 200, 350, 300 million, okay, to make a Wonder Woman movie. And getting her origin out of the way, okay? Because for me, that's cheap. But we just want to start the ground running with this character strong enough. She's an iconic character, okay? And if people want to know more about her origins, we can always tap that later. But you give me this story right over here.
I think the next one, the Ares story from George Perez. If we do that one, I think it'll be fantastic. But that plays partly into the origin there, you know. What do you think about that, Pete?
Well, Camelot, the fall of Camelot is in the DC universe. Let's hook in, was it Morgan Le Fay? Let's hook her into the Amazons. And then the stuff that Ares is doing is what she's doing. She's making the darker world. The Amazons come, one of them is already there. I was thinking as an origin, but as you were saying, one of them already be there. And then they're like, oh, this is my mortal enemy. She stopped us from taking over the world. So now she's going after Wonder Woman. So it's like, and then I think the Burns story where she tried to take over her body. He was trying to make them like this old woman who's dying, Morgan Le Fay, and this woman who's a mortal. Play off of that. The second villain is Zeus. George Perez's second story, the Battle of the Gods. Ares. Then Zeus.
So you just building up on the gods battle. But how you going to involve the world here then?
Because they're destroying the world.
The first one was the world, and then the second one, once she saves the world in George Perez's story, in the Ares story,
Right.
Zeus is like, wow, this is the new hot chick. You're gonna have sex with me, and she's like, what are you talking about? You're my god, and he's like, oh, you're going through this challenge, and that's the challenge of the gods. And that story that's not a world story, but that's a one woman god story. But yeah,
It's the 12 Ladies of Hercules.
But you see, that's the great thing about the if you use the Ares timeline, the God's timeline, there's already
built in,
built in with the Hercules. You have it with the Xena. You have it with the movie with the
and you can modernize it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The problem with me for having a second movie was that Wonder Woman doesn't have a good rogues gallery. And that's what Superman and Batman have. Spider-Man has. Right. And that's the only reason I would see a difficulty in making a second movie, because who would be the next villain? Because in all of these movies, when you come to Captain America, you got Red Skull. The next one, Winter Soldier. Thor, the same thing. You got the same thing. You follow me?
Who's our first villain?
The first villain would be coming off of Man's World. Right? Would be the humans themselves, because they're destroying them. They're destroying. Would be threatening Themyscira. That's what I would see.
I wouldn't do that.
Those decent stories don't have a rogues gallery. The only other villain, but the only other villain I can think of is Artemis, because they did the storyline where Artemis came back from Themyscira, and she was doing her version of Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman got into it because now what Wonder Woman was trying to do, Artemis was jeopardizing for the melding of the worlds with Themyscira and Man's World, and Artemis was destroying that and saying, oh no, we need to control this and make sure that Man's World is under the Amazon rule. Oh, I like that. That's great.
I didn't like it. And it's for the same reason I don't like Zeus as a villain, because I like Artemis. I think Artemis works better as a supporting character than she does as a villain.
Not necessarily a villain. Zeus in that story was sort of, what did he do? He sort of had this discretion that he's had before, that he's had in history, where he's broken from his wife, and he goes down to a human woman.
Hera.
And so that's the part of the story where she still follows him. He's had this moment, and she conquers even this challenge, where it's really a bogus. I mean, Odin in the Thor comic was pretty much was almost Thor's villain, because he kept looking at Thor saying, "Oh, you're fighting Hercules, but you're still with that woman. Let me take away your powers." So he was not in the movies. Now, the movies he sort of.
But then again, why does that work? Because it's established over a very long period of time in so many different comics, where we know that I'm going to take away half your strength. Okay, I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to do that to you. And again, that was the whole father-son relationship between the two of them. And eventually, they finally grew out of that to the point where, okay, I don't need to do that anymore with you. You're an established character, so on and so forth. Wonder Woman and Zeus don't have that, at least for me, from the reading of the comics I have. And I went back before this thing and read some Golden Age Wonder Woman, and those are some horrible comics. But they don't have that relationship. It's something that you could foster on her. But it doesn't. Zeus, the Greek gods, unless it's like Ares or not even Hades, really Ares, because he goes diametrically opposed to her, because she's supposed to be this champion of peace, where Ares needs war in order to exist,
to be strong,
it works for me a lot. It works for me a lot better. I was thinking the first one would be Ares.
I think it'll have to be Ares.
Okay, well, Ares is now threatening.
Second villain is the cheetah. Third villain is Cersei, and I would specifically use the cheetah and Cersei because people already think that these villains don't have anything to offer. So when I do it, they're gonna go, "Oh wow, we never thought that you could use it."
And I'll tell you from the very beginning, my premise, it just won't work. No one knows enough of the character. There's not enough backstory, and of course, Dee brought down the point that there's not enough of a rogues gallery too. But I think that it's just not gonna work, because simply the character was made for men, young men, and older men, but it's not working for the woman who see it, because they see a woman the way she's built, the way she's set up, and they just turned off. That's my point.
Yeah, I think that it's a movie that should be done. She's a flashy enough character. Everyone knows her. I agree with the points that there's, it's a hard sell because there's no proof that it's going to work. There's some things of female movies that haven't worked, but I just think it's something they need to put the investment in. If you can't do George Perez's, his Paradise Island, you can at least do the Ross Andrew one, which just had palm trees, and just make it a beautiful place like it's Hawaii. You at least have to do it. You have to make the movie.
I too believe that the Wonder Woman movie not only should be made, but can be made and can work. And the reason why I believe it can work, number one, the character is a character of two worlds. She's a character that's in man's world, and she's a character of her other world. And that's what's great about characters that we always relate to. It can be done, and it can be done. The other thing is that I don't believe that Wonder Woman should fly. I think the better part is to leave her, not to make her like Superman, but to make her more of a character instead of the technology with the invisible plane. Maybe do something that is relevant like an invisible plane, like Frank Miller did with the flying horse, like a Pegasus, or a large bird. You got beasts that are imagination. She can have a griffin. What I'm saying is that you can give her things like she's been given bracelets, amulets, what you call it, the lasso of truth. I mean, all of these things. The help, in the earlier comic books, her tiara was what helped her read minds, had telepathy. So there are a lot of things she can get, and that can aid her in man's world, but she herself doesn't have those powers. But I think the story is relevant, her character can be relevant, so it can work in my opinion. I know it's a little Hollywood, but beyond the Hollywood thing, I think a movie like that can work.
What do you think?
Should there be a Wonder Woman movie? Yes. Okay, can there be a Wonder Woman movie? Yes.
You went for it again.
Yo.
Will there be a Wonder Woman movie? Yes. Will it be a successful movie?
No.
That right there, for me, is the big question, and that's where I agree with what Mario has to say, because it's guys who really, the points that he's bringing are very salient, okay? They're valid, and you've got to get over that hump. You can disagree with me as to whether or not she has stories of gravitas, okay? And it's fine to disagree, but the bottom line is, most people, again, comic book readers will be hard-pressed to say, hey, look, what's a seminal story with Wonder Woman? But the current run right over here now is very insular. It's not going to last outside of that. Past runs, you've got to go hit trades, or you've got to download in order to read the stuff like I did. Most guys aren't doing that. Can it be successful? Yeah. You need to just do some very simple things. You've got to market to women with the movie, and that means you've got to leave some of the guys' stuff to the side, okay? So you can do a very successful movie with it, but you've got to get over the hump of, one, the fact that she's a Superman analog, two, that she's a woman, and most of the people in charge of making the decisions are dudes, okay? And that both dudes and chicks have their own ways of seeing women in power and how they're supposed to act. If you can get over all of that hump, you can have a very successful movie. Unfortunately, I just don't see it happening anytime soon, okay? I really don't see it happening anytime soon. You really need to have, you've got to have a top-notch script, a top-notch story. You've got to have people who really like or love this character, so she doesn't turn into some caricature, so she doesn't turn into some MMA fighter or some cosplayer, and you can't be afraid of her being a woman. It can't be we're going to argue over, hey, look, is she going to wear the leotard, or is she going to wear long pants? Like, no, the whole idea is this is what she is. She should be able to come as she comes from the comics, fully presented, with no shame or anything of that nature, and you should be able to just hit the ground running with the story. Involve all of the mascara, that means the mythology, but also the technology of it. Don't be afraid of the visible plane or the purple ray. And if you can have a really strong theme in the movie, she has to come across as this emissary of peace. That if she's bashing somebody's head in, it's for this longer reach goal of making certain that she's going to knock all these dudes out, so nobody else has to have to lift up a gun or a sword again. And if you can get that through with the movie, and you've got to get that through with love. She needs to have that relationship. Okay, and I think if you put her as a standoff thing and she has no relationship, especially not with another guy, then for me it defeats the whole purpose, because the whole idea is supposed to be this peace, this equanimity, and that there has to be some love about it as well. You can get all that in a film. Yeah, we got a really strong film. I don't know anybody right now who's capable of doing that, who really wants to do that, because what they really want to do, they just want that Avengers money. Okay, they want to make $1 billion. They want to maximize all of these characters. They didn't do it with Man of Steel. They didn't come over here and really dig in and say, look, we can tell an excellent story with this character based on these trophies. They didn't do that. And I would have the same fears for Wonder Woman, that look, you could tell a wonderful story. Wonderful, I couldn't think of a different word. So you could tell an excellent story with this character.
So basically, that's a yes, you're saying?
Yeah, it's a yes, but with all those caveats.
Thor.
Okay?
That's all I'm saying, Thor.
So, thank you everybody for joining for another exciting discussion with the Spinner Right Group.
This was really exciting.
Action-packed almost.
I wonder why.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.